Dear aspirants, let us begin with the second chapter of our Companies Act. So, welcome to RP Academy. Also, if you are having any kind of doubts, you can definitely ask me in the comment section. So, let's begin with the session. So, what we are going to study today? We are going to study about the chapter 2, Incorporation of Company and Matters Incidental thereto. So, what is the objective of today's class? See, by the end of this chapter, you should not only know about the different sections, but also understand why this particular law exists, how it operates in practice, and how Ministry of Corporate Affairs as well as ROC enforce it. And here you will understand that what are the important things that you must remember for the exam perspective, also how companies are actually complying. Okay, so you have to understand here about the incorporation. While we talk about incorporation, can I simply say that we are talking about the birth of a company, right? And because the company is known as an artificial person, now I want you to understand its birth or its incorporation, just like the birth of a child. When a child is born, you know there is a birth certificate that is issued, identity is created for the child, name is given, address is existing, and then parents become responsible for that particular child, right? Similarly, when a company is incorporated, there is a certificate of incorporation that is issued. Then we also talk about its identity. So a company gets a legal identity. A company identification number is allotted. Along with that, you will see that registered offices are established and directors become responsible, just like I told you about the parents becoming responsible for the birth of a child. So here is a catch. Just because a child is born doesn't mean he can start driving a car. Similarly, if a company has just started its business, does not mean that it will immediately, if a company has actually been incorporated, it will start its businesses. There are certain post incorporation compliances that it has to follow, and only then it can start the businesses. So here you will be understanding the incorporation part in a chronological order. So यहाँ पर you will see about first of all promoters. Then you are going to know about the memorandum of association as well as the article of association. Then we are going to study about documents that we have to file with ROC. Then we are going to talk about the certificate of incorporation that is being issued. After that, I will be telling you how section 10A compliance is taking place. So before that, you will see that how the company came into existence, and then we will talk about section 10A. After that, we are going to talk about registered office verification as well. So from section 10A, you will see that the business will commence. Okay, so here you have understood the complete chronology. If not, then also there is no issue, I will teach you about the same. So first of all, let's talk about section 10A, the current regime. So here they say that see, this section was introduced for a purpose. So before 2015, what was happening, there was a section 11 where we had required minimum paid up capital to be 5 lakh rupees for a company to be a public company and 1 lakh rupees for a company to be registered as a private company. But now things have changed. Now they say that thousands of shell companies simply deposited money, obtained incorporation, and then disappeared. So government realized that the minimum capital does not ensure that we will have any genuine businesses. Okay, so here we said that okay, fine, let's do one thing. Here no minimum capital requirement will be required there. So fine, in the section 11 we had actually deleted the section 11, but then new problem arise. What was the new problem that arose? So here, suppose I incorporate a company and I promise in the memorandum of association that I am going to buy 1 lakh shares of this particular company. Okay, now what will happen? I never actually pay the money. So what is going to happen? Company will start taking loans, start entering into contracts, start cheating its creditors, and government will realize this loophole later on. Hence, section 10A was introduced in 2018. Fine. So what was the purpose of section 10A? Here you will see that we did not want to collect money. We did not want to increase the revenue. Rather, our purpose was simply to ensure that the promoters are serious and have actually invested their promised capital before the company operations, before the company begin its operation. So this is an anti-shell company provision. Now which companies are here covered? See, only companies having share capital incorporated after 2nd November 2018. So first of all, you know very well that the companies that are having share capital and they were incorporated after 2nd November 2018, only those companies are covered in this particular section. Okay, so we say that for an example, let us say that there is an ABC Private Limited and it has a share paid up capital, okay, for rupees, let us say 1 lakh rupees. And now here you will say that this particular company will be covered. But if there is a, let us say, XYZ section 8 company without any share capital, will that be covered? No, that will not be covered. So we have to understand that there are two conditions that if we have to start a business. So imagine there are two gates, okay. First of all, just a minute, let me add another slide first, okay. So I am talking about the two gates, so gate 1 and then gate 2. So I am simply saying that see guys, if there is a gate 1, that is subscribers paid the share money, then only gate 1 will be opened. So it is starting with INC 20A, in which our directors are filing the declaration, okay. So INC 20A, in which our directors are filing the declaration. So what does the director will declare? He will say that I confirm that every subscriber has paid for the shares promised, okay. So whatever amount we have got from the shareholders or whatever shares we have issued for the shareholders, for that they have paid a certain amount. So notice this carefully, that law is not asking that how much money they have paid, but they are asking that did the subscribers actually pay what they had promised, and only then they got those shares. So there is a huge difference, okay. So here we will see that, okay, directors have to file the INC 20A only after all the shareholders have actually paid the amount, only then a company can start its businesses, okay. Now you might think that why only our director is paying such kind of amounts, right? You would be having a doubt in your mind. See, why we are not asking the shareholders to pay this? Because directors are managing the company, they are responsible for the compliance. The overall responsibility lies with them, okay. Overall responsibility lies with them. So here the liability is also imposed upon them. Understood? So here we have a time limit, that is, always remember this time limit, that is 180 days. So after certificate of incorporation we will provide them 120 days, okay. After certificate of incorporation we will provide them 180 days within which they have to file this INC 20A, okay. If company ignores the same, they have to pay a penalty of 50,000 rupees. If the company is not filing this INC 20A, they have to pay a price for it, that is the 50,000 rupees. And if the penalty is on that company for 50,000 rupees and on officers it will be 1,000 rupees per day, that can go maximum 1 lakh rupees, okay. 1,000 rupees per day till the contravention continues, and if the total amount of the penalty cannot exceed more than 1 lakh rupees. So here you have to notice one thing, that daily penalty increases the faster compliances. Now let us take a worst consequence that may happen. So if they do not do the same, then ROC may strike off the company, okay. So here you will see that the registrar of the company is striking off the company, and this is much more serious than the penalty, because legally company itself will disappear now. So what is a strike off and why we are doing this? See, consider that 10 months have already passed, no office, no capital, no activity is assigned, and government concludes that, okay, the company probably exists only on paper, therefore ROC will remove its name. Understood? Clear? So this was our first gate, right? Then we had talked about that there are two gates, gate 1 and gate 2. So what will be happening under the gate 2? Here the registered office will be verified. Okay, so we will be verifying if the registered office is at the present location or not. Okay, also guys, do you know about what are the shell companies? Do you know which companies are known as the shell companies? Because you would have heard a lot about the same in the newspaper. See, a company that generally exists only on paper, it does not exist in the reality. So here you will see that there is no real businesses, no employees are working here, there are no operations or business operations being conducted by this particular business, and these businesses are actually, these companies are used for the purpose of tax evasion. Okay, and here these companies are used for money laundering or accommodation entries. So here we will see that such companies are existing on only paper, and section 10A helps eliminate such businesses. So students usually confuse between the certificate of incorporation, also they confuse with what? Commencement of business. See, you have to understand that here incorporation will take place, company will exist, section 10A will come, and then only business will start. So existence and business commencements are two different things. Fine. Also I told you that now we have actually removed the paid up capital requirement. So do you know why this paid up capital requirement was removed? See, here government believed that higher capital simply means a stronger company, but that was earlier. So here the companies proved otherwise, meaning, see, consider you have two companies, company A and company B. You have two companies, company A and company B. Now you say that the company A has 5 lakh rupees as the share capital, but you also know that this company is a fraudulent company. Okay, here now comes a company B that has a smaller amount, that is 10,000 rupees of share capital, but it has converted itself into a successful startup, just like things happened during the COVID-19. So capital doesn't determine your credibility, therefore requirement is abolished. Today even if you have 1 rupee paid up share capital, then also you can legally incorporate a company. Understood? Now if there is any doubt, you can definitely ask me. Now let's study the theory, because of course you must know the keywords to clearly solve the questions. Now the old section 11, which had minimum paid up capital limits, was deleted in 2015. Now section 10A was introduced to ensure capital is actually brought in. So a company cannot commence business or borrow unless a director files form INC 20A within 180 days of incorporation. They must declare that every subscriber has paid the value of their shares into the company bank account alongside verification of the registered offices, the two gates that I told you. Okay. Now, this particular section is not applicable to on whom? Section 8 companies, that is not for profit companies, small companies, one person companies. Okay. Here you have to understand that the section 8 companies, it will not be applicable. Small companies and OPCs are not exempted, meaning they have to follow all these things. Now section 10A, default penalty. So the company penalty will be 50,000 rupees one time penalty, and for officers 1,000 rupees per day for the continuing default or contravention. So here this will be capped at maximum 1 lakh rupees per officer. Strife of risk, if INC 28 is not filed within 180 days, the registrar has the grounds to initiate actions to remove company's name from the register, meaning now they will say that company do not exist, right? So its registration will also be cancelled. Crucial note, the daily penalty begins accruing from day 181, not from the day of date a notice is issued. Okay, now let's move towards the section 12, where we are going to talk about the registered offices as well as the disclosures. So imagine you have opened a company. Now where will the government send notices? Income tax, GST, registration of certificate, then banks, courts, so all these will need to send the certificates, right? So here they need an address. So hence every company must have an official address, and this is called your registered office. So now why registered office? Think of like Aadhaar. Okay, Okay, every citizen has one address. Similarly, every company has one legal address, and that address becomes your legal identity. Okay, so here you will see that it must be verified with the registrar of companies form INC 22 within 30 days of incorporation. So they say that now the verification must take place within 30 days. The company will file proof with the ROC, and generally electricity bill, rent agreement, ownership proof, NOC, all these are provided as in the form of proof. Now you may think that why only 30 days? See, government wants to ensure that company is not fake, otherwise people would create thousands of company with imaginary addresses. So here you have to display your name as well. So suppose you visit the Google's office, outside you see Google India Private Limited. Why? Because the law requires it. Okay, so here you will see that public must know that which company operates in that particular building. Okay, understood? So here you will see that they must paint a fixed name, address and CIN prominently outside every place of the business. Digital compliances. So new rule is there for new rule 25. So here we see that just like RP Academy, now we have our website. So we must publish our company's name, registered address, CIN, contact number, email and a designated grievance contact on the landing page. Former name. So here you will see that must print any former names changed in the last 2 years on business letters. You see so many companies actually change their names. So you have to publish that name also. So every official communication must contain name, registered office, CIN, phone, email, website. So it is just like your company's Aadhaar card. What is CIN? Corporate identity number, where every company gets one. Like PAN card is for taxpayers, Aadhaar is for citizens, roll number is for students. So CIN uniquely identifies a company. Understood? Now as I told you, for the website disclosure we have to make sure that the most communication will be happening online. Therefore the website home page must also display statutory details so that we maintain the transparency. And if there is a change in the name, so directors cannot simply rename the company because shareholders are the owners, so ownership decisions belong to them. Therefore special resolution is required. So here you will see special resolution. So we have to alter the memorandum of association under section 13 or article of association passing a special resolution. Also you will see that we need a government approval from here. Why? Consider that ABC Private Limited has changed its name to RBI Private Limited. Okay, now RBI is the central regulator of India, right? So here government will check whether proposed name is misleading or not. And why we are putting this former name for 2 years? Because XYZ Limited if becomes ABC Limited, suppliers may think that both are different companies. So printing old name for 2 years help them to maintain the continuity. Understood? Under section 13 they say that if there is a need to alter the memorandum of association. Okay, do you know what is memorandum of association? See, it is just like a company's constitution. What is it? Just like a company's constitution. As we have a constitution in our own country now, in the very similar way we have MOA. It defines name, state, objects, liability, capital. So without memorandum of association company cannot exist. And can we change it? Yes, we can change it, but not casually. We need a special resolution because foundational document is being changed by us here. Okay, so here there is a important provision under section 13(8). Okay, this one, change in objects, where they say that imagine there is a company that issued shares to the public and it collected, let us consider, 2000 crore rupees from the public. Okay, now you will see that prospectus says that we will be buying some solar plants, and that's why we have brought this particular IPO and we have collected the funds from we have raised the capital from the shareholders. Now investors, what they are doing, they are purchasing shares, and later company says that actually we want to start hotels. Okay, and can company do this? No. Why? Because investors are trusting the prospectus. They are changing objectives after collecting money. that would amount to betrayal. Hence, you will see that there is an exit opportunity. So if a company has unutilized money raised from the public, if they change the object, then they will have to give the dissent from shareholders an exit opportunity. So basically all the shareholders who do not want to change the object in memorandum of association, they will be provided an exit opportunity where they can sell their shares to other people or other firms, right? So here we have said talked about conversion processing. Okay, here you will see that what is this exit opportunity? You invested only because company promised that they are going to have some solar projects, but now management wants hotel business. Law says that if you disagree, you can exit. Promoter must provide opportunity, and SEBI will regulate the entire process. So here, why does SEBI come here? Because public investors are involved. Whenever public will issue, okay, whenever company will issue shares for the public, SEBI will protect the investors, and hence section 13(8) will link the Companies Act with the SEBI regulation. Okay, now let's talk about the article of association that we had studied in the section 14. So here they say that AOA is governing the internal management. So memorandum of association works like a constitution, article of association works like a rule book. So memorandum of association will say that the company manufactures car. AOA says that how directors meet. So how voting will happen, what will be the procedure for the dividends, and which are the powers provided to the board of directors. So if you are changing article of association, you also need a special resolution here. Okay, now let us talk about conversion of companies. So if you want to convert a public company to a private company, you need approval from NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal, or regional director, ensuring faster corporate clearance. Meaning, if you want to convert a company, right, then you need the approval from the central government, which are the powers exercised by the regional directors under the applicable rule. Why? Because public companies have greater responsibility towards investors and creditors. So we have so many creditors who are providing the loans, who are giving the loans, right? So if we are changing the companies, they might have a doubt in their mind that okay, our money will not be repaid back, right? So government want scrutiny before reducing those obligations. And if a private company wants to get converted into one-person company, or OPC wants to get converted into a private company, that will be governed by the rules and comparatively simpler rules. Understood? Now let's move to the next slide. Section 20, service of documents. See guys, here you may think that how does company actually communicate? See, these are done through legally recognized methods. For example, a company is sending a notice of AGM, right? Then shareholders will later say that, oh, I have never received this particular notice of AGM. So law will here therefore specify the recognized modes. What is AGM that I am talking about? Annual general meeting, okay? Not the your additional general managers of bank. Okay, anyways, so here you will see that what are the modes: registered post, okay, then speed post. Along with that, you will see that there is a courier and electronic mode. So why we are using the electronic mode? Of course, modern companies are working digitally these days, so government also promotes the paperless governance. Hence email communication has legal recognition. Fine. So here you will see that documents can be served on the company officers, ROC or members via registered post, speed post, courier or electronic means. So digital push was given in under the 2026. So upcoming amendments propose that an prescribed document for certain classes of company must be sent exclusively through electronic mode, like your this email. Okay. Now deemed delivery. So for meetings, delivery by post is deemed affected 48 hours after posting. For courier, proof of delivery is required. See, in the deemed service, they say that company post annual general meeting notice today, shareholders deliberately refuse the delivery. So can he later on challenge this AGM? No, because the law creates these deemed services, meaning law assumes delivery after specified time. So if the meeting notice, it should not be okay. Meeting notice should be provided 48 hours after posting. So other communications will be there. Ordinary course of post will also be used. So here for meetings, delivery by post is deemed affected 48 hours after posting. For courier, proof of delivery is required. Members can request specific delivery modes by paying a fee determined at the annual general meeting. See what is happening now. Every shareholder would simply refuse letters and invalidate meetings. So corporate governance would collapse in such situations. Hence, law protects the companies. Understood? So here you have understood that. Okay, fine. Section 10A had ensured that promoters are actually contributing capital instead of making empty promises. Section 12 ensures that every stakeholder knows where the company can be contacted and who does it illegally. And then to protect the investors, we brought section 13.8, which prevented the management from diverting public money to purposes never approved by the shareholders or the investors, right? And then talking about the special resolutions, so it works under the corporate democracy, in which we see that the fundamental corporate changes require a super majority of shareholders, not merely the board's decision. Okay, so for digital governance, you will see that amendments promote e-filing, electronic communication, website disclosure, which reflect the Ministry of Corporate Affairs shift towards a paperless compliance ecosystem. Okay, so you have to remember about the INC 20A, that is within 180 days, and section 12 is about address, and then section 13 is about the constitution, that is memorandum of association, and section 14 is about internal rules, that is article of association. Fine, so you must know about all these things. Okay, tell me one question's answer. Who approves routine public to private conversion? Central government through the regional director. Okay, they have provided the power in the hands of the regional director. Okay, understood? And what is the time limit for registered office verification? 30 days. Clear? So that's it for the day, and there are few changes or the amendments that have taken place over the years. So here you can see those things. Already have brought you through those particular slides, so you do not need to just remember the previous ones, only you just must to know about the latest one. Okay, that's it for the day. If you like the lecture, you can simply press the like button. You can comment your feedbacks. You have to hype the lectures. Okay, also if you are having any kind of doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. You can also connect with me on my Telegram channel, that is RP Academy. Okay, and we also have created a separate group for PFRDA grade A students who are going to prepare for this particular exam cycle. Okay, so they can also connect with us through that particular Telegram group. Okay, that's it for the day. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care guys, and let's meet in our next session.